I have always, grown up from an early age, grilled me mum and dad about what happened in our family history. Now we'll see if there's any eggs. Look, these are two silkies. That's Preachy, and that's Silver Bullet. I suppose it's being a nosy Parker. It's like your own personal soap opera. Silver Bullet often lays 11. I suppose what everyone wants is a bit of scandal. It'd be nice if there was a murderer somewhere down the line. Or someone very grand. And I suppose there rarely is. We've got a graveyard out the back, which I find quite comforting, really. I think it's nice that they're all peacefully beneath the ground. And it's odd people think that, you know, living next to a graveyard, it's, ooh, doesn't that freak you out? I said, no, I'd be freaked out if they were living. Living people freak me out, not dead ones. They're all right. Peel them, stick them in the pickling pot, and it makes an ideal snack for a summer evening.
Vic Reeves is one of Britain's most popular comics. But Vic Reeves is simply that, a comic character. The man behind him is Jim Moyer.
Vic Reeves is just on the telly, but I'm Jim Moyer. I've been for years, decades, so that's what I am. If people think when you go home, when the cameras are turned off, you're the same, then they might be in for a surprise. When I'm Vic Reeves on television, it's because I'm playing a part. But, yes, this is me and my family.
Jim lives in the Kent countryside with his second wife, Nancy.
Got a bit of cake on it as well.
He has 2 children who live with his first wife in the north of England.
Do you want some?
It's really yummy.
As far as his family history is concerned, he's always been fascinated by his mother's father.
Well, this is Simeon Lee, the father of my mother, who's sitting on his knee there as he sits on the beach at Scarborough wearing his spats, fastidiously dressed, as he is in this one. Very well turned out, and quite a good tan on him. I would suspect that he doesn't do a lot of work indoors.
Simeon married Jim's grandmother Lillian when he was 50. There are rumours that he may have been married before, but his earlier years have always been shrouded in mystery.
He's very smart, isn't he? I want to know what he did, why he's so smartly dressed. I never knew him. Maybe that's what's interesting about him. And he's my mother's dad. There's some dark areas to search out.
Jim has flown up to Darlington, his hometown, to talk to his mother Audrey about her father, Simeon Lee.
Oh, this is nice. I feel very at home. Hello. Did I start with you?
You gave me a shock. Hello.
Jim's mum and dad, Audrey and Neil, have lived in Darlington for almost 40 years. His Auntie Ray is visiting.
That's a surprise, isn't it?
Oh, lovely. Lovely to see you.
Oh, well,
Your coat, Rod.
well, it's, you can't tell with this weather, can you?
No, that's true.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm driving a Flash Merc.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's a hire car.
Oh, yeah. Take your coat off.
Are you doing all right?
Yes, not so bad, Rod. How are you?
Very good.
Good.
Well, you're looking well.
Yeah, well.
This is my dad.
Look at him there.
That's in Scarborough.
He looks really tanned. The pictures I've always seen of
Tanned
him.
or canned?
He looks very brown.
That's me and that's Adrian.
Don't you think he looks brown? And I've always seen pictures of him. He always looks like he's, you know...
Yeah, I think it's Dulux paint.
So you wanted to ask me about my dad today?
Yeah.
Right.
Over lunch, Jim asks his mum what she knows about Simeon Lee's life before he married her mother.
And that's me. That's my mum. That's my brother Adrian.
But he was married before.
Yes.
And how did you find out about it?
Because my mother told me.
What, when? When you were
Well,
grown
not
up?
when I'd grown up, yes. Because I remember when he was dying, he was asking for Mary, and I said, why is asking for Auntie Mary? And she said, he's not asking for Auntie Mary, that was his first wife, Mary.
Did you like him as a dad?
Well, as a child, you just take what the parents are like, don't you? You don't really...
Yeah.
He was just my dad, and that was it, wasn't it? You know, you just...
Well, no, because I love my dad, and you know,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
get the feeling that you never really.
Well,
You want
I'd
that-
say he wasn't an affectionate person. You know, he didn't give you a cuddle or kiss.
Yeah.
He wasn't that type of a person.
This is a very well-dressed person. Somebody who's quite affluent. You know, wing collars and spats. You know, you don't wear things like that. You know, in when is it 1929?
But somebody who wasn't quite affluent, really.
Well, I think he was. I mean, look at him. He might have had a Victorian
Outlook.
outlook, but he's, you know, I mean, I applaud him for having a flower in his lapels. But he's a dark horse. We just don't, you know.
No, we don't know his background, do we? It's just guesswork.
She didn't talk about him like he was, oh, my lovely father. I mean, the way I talk about my dad, I mean, I love my dad, and I think he's great, and I've got lots to say about him, and I don't think my mum's got a great deal to say about her dad.
In London, Jim's going to meet Nick Barrett, a family history researcher who will investigate Simeon Lee's life before he met Jim's grandmother, Lillian.
Hello. Vic,
You're
Jim?
Nick?
I'm Nick indeed, yes.
How do you do?
Nice to meet you.
Please have a seat.
Thank you very much.
It's a metal seat, hope you don't mind.
Okay, so, who is this chap you're interested in?
He's my mother's father, my grandfather,
Okay.
whom I never met.
What's his name, which is really important to start looking at records.
Yeah,
It helps
right,
you.
okay, well, he's called Simeon Lee.
Okay.
That's, I don't know if you're in the middle of that. Simeon,
And how do you spell Lee?
Leigh.
Okay.
There's a picture in here,
Oh, you got some pictures of him?
which...
Jim says his mother believes that Simeon had a first wife, possibly called Mary.
I'm really intrigued about trying to find out more about this first marriage, maybe even how it ended.
Yeah.
You know, there are various searches we can do there. Whilst there are some divorce records, it wasn't particularly common to get a divorce, so we've got to have a look at this
So it
potential
could be a
angle.
bigamist as well.
Yeah, I'm doing
Yeah.
this sort of research where there are some of these potential, you know, skeletons that might come out. I've
But I'll
no
be
idea
excited,
at
you
this
know.
stage, but it is something we have to say. People sometimes don't like the results they get.
No, I'd
It can
adore
be-
it. I'm
Really?
looking forward to it. Exciting results. I don't think, you know, I mean, I might be completely wrong. I might burst into tears. But I doubt it.
I hope not, but we'll see.
While Nick begins his investigation into Simeon Lee's earlier life, Jim heads north. He's travelling to the East Yorkshire coast, where his mother spent her childhood. It's here that Audrey's memories of her elusive father begin. In the mid-1930s, Simeon took Jim's grandmother, Lillian, and their two young children, Audrey and Adrian, to live in Bempton, a remote coastal village 30 miles north of Hull. It was the aftermath of the Great Depression, and Audrey remembers local men combing the cliffs to find seagulls' eggs to eat. Simeon was paid a low wage to work as a verger in the village church. The job he did in the 1930s is now carried out by Kate Veach.
My grandfather used to, like, verge. Is that the word, term?
I'm not sure what the term is.
Yeah, he used to work here. And the cliffs are just there, aren't they?
They're about a mile that way.
Are they a mile that way?
It's a fair walk.
It's
yes.
my mum said when she was 8, she remembers getting seagulls' eggs. Have you eaten them?
I've never had a gull egg, no.
I thought you'd like to, wouldn't you?
No, I would not.
Why not?
Don't fancy all that fishy stuff.
It'd be nice.
No.
You never had a gull egg?
I'd rather watch them flying.
I think you should eat one.
No. You would have to be here every Sunday to open the gates and the doors.
Yeah.
And hand out the hymn books. And you would have to be here at every wedding and every funeral and every baptism. You only get paid when you turn up and
So it's
look
not
after
your
a wedding
full-time
or
job?
anything. No. You would have to have a day job as well.
Has it ever been a full-time job?
No.
So if my grandfather was a verger here, he must have had another job. Or a lot of money.
Well, yes. He couldn't have lived on the verger's pay.
So how did Simeon support his family? Audrey remembers a rumour that her father was given a sum of money as some kind of payoff. Perhaps he didn't rely on the verger's meagre pay. But this still seems an odd place for the dapper man in spats to bring his young family.
Does it give you peace of mind?
It gives me a lot of job satisfaction when I see it nice and tidy and...
Well, I'm getting nearer than I thought then.
Are you?
Maybe his mind needed tidying. Maybe he was a verger here because of that. It's quite a bleak place. There isn't anything round here. So what Simeon Lee was doing, being a verger, for no money... He could have been a genius writer, or a spy. Maybe the story is true, he was given a lot of money to go away, and he took the money, and it seems to me like he was on the run. It's a tiny place, I don't know why you would come somewhere like this.
Whatever the truth about the payoff, Simeon was certainly doing a good impression of a man on the run. During Audrey's childhood, he drifted from one badly paid job to the next along the East Yorkshire coast. As for Simeon's alleged first marriage, researcher Nick Barrett has come up with something interesting and has suggested to Jim that they meet in Hull.
How are you doing?
So what's happening? What have you found out? What have you discovered?
I have got some hopefully exciting things for you.
Good.
Let me just rummage around in my bag and get them out.
I'm eager.
You're eager? You're
Yeah,
eager
look.
and waiting.
Give me the information, quick.
Right, okay. This is a copy from the 1901 census. And if we have a look down, there he is, Simeon Lee.
Yeah.
Next to him we have the name of his wife, Mary Lee. So that ties in again exactly with what you've been told.
Right, so that's... Yeah.
And we've got a place as well, Hull.
So he lived here?
Yes, here in Hull. So we've got an address. And most importantly of all, we've got the Christian name of his wife. This is the marriage certificate in 1900 of Simeon Lee and Mary Jane Payne. So we found out when he was born, when he got married, who he married, and where he was living at the time of his marriage. Now this really brings us on to the next part of the quest, to find out what happened in those intervening years. Yeah. So what I did was go forward to when we know he married your grandmother, Lillian Crowe, and ordered out the marriage certificate, which makes really interesting reading. Now, as you know, it took place in 1926, so we jump forward 26 years. So he should, in theory, be 50. He's calling himself 39.
he's certainly not that honest about his age.
Or indeed, I would argue about his marital condition.
Widower.
So that suggests that Mary Jane Payne has died by the time he marries again. I've done a very full search under various names, Mary Jane Lee, Mary Jane Payne, to see whether she died between 1900, when we know she's alive, and 1926, when he claims he's a widower. And there isn't a trace of her. I've had a look through all the surviving divorce records as well, just for the sake of completeness, and there is no records of an official dissolution of his first marriage.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just a case of looking for the marriage, first marriage. I've done a little bit of digging and uncovered 3 children.
3?
3. Let me just lay them out here for you. The first son, Stanley Eustace Simeon.
Yeah.
His father's name Simeon Lee. Mother's name Mary Lee, formerly Payne. And he's a
1901.
Yeah. 2 years later, they have another son, Eric Trevers Edmund Lee. And the final child I've found, Clarence George.
Then that's 1901, 1903 and 1905.
Yes.
So
And
he
it-
left 3, he abandoned 3 boys.
This is as far as my research has got so far. What I hope to do now is, if you're okay with this, bring these forward and see if we can
Well,
find
yeah.
any living descendants of these 3 branches of the family.
I mean, they'd presumably all be dead and
I would imagine these would be.
what-
There's an
there'll be
outside chance there'll be 100 or so,
Yeah.
but I mean, we're more
it
likely
wouldn't be
to find...
lucid.
It makes some interesting family
Well, there
stories
might
up. The real key, I think, is to find any marriages for these boys
Yeah.
and then look for children. Who I guess would, if you say minimum they'd be 20, they'd be in their 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
So hopefully...
So I've got cousins potentially in Hull.
So Simeon married his first wife, Mary, in 1900, produced 3 sons, and then left them before marrying his second wife, Lillian, in 1926. There's no trace of an official dissolution of the first marriage, nor of Mary's premature death. This suggests that Jim's grandfather was a bigamist. In the early 20th century, divorce was out of reach for the working classes. As social mobility increased, Simeon became one of the many people who were prepared to risk up to a year in prison by entering a second marriage without dissolving their first. In 1926, the year that Simeon married for the second time, more than 100 bigamists were successfully prosecuted. Thousands more went undetected. With proof of his grandfather's first marriage, Jim calls his mum.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I'm in Hull.
Oh, are you?
Well, your dad lived in Hull with a woman called Mary Payne,
Oh, all right.
who was his wife. And you thought that you had a half-brother.
Yes.
You've got 3.
3?
3 half-brothers.
Good, eh?
There's Eric, Stanley and Clarence. That's something for you to think about.
Yes, quite earth-shattering.
Well, yeah, it's...
I mean, I might have relatives all over the place at this rate with 3 children.
While Nick returns to London to carry on his research, Jim sets off to find the house where Simeon Lee lived with Mary and their 3 sons before he left them.
If you met him, what would you say to him, do you think?
I'd rather not meet him. He doesn't sound like a particularly nice person. I don't know. He might have had reason. It could have been shell shock or something. I don't know. No, it can't have been. You don't abandon people like that. He obviously didn't say anything. He didn't mention it. And how do you go through life and not mention your 3 boys? Hello.
Vic Reeves?
Yes, it is.
That was the one, that's me.
What do you do? What did you get me? 1905. My granddad lived here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was a joke.
No, it's true. With, he had 3 kids. And Clarence would have been... How old?
She just turned 1.
Same kind of age. And that weird, yeah. So he lived here with 3 boys in 1905. You don't get a plaque for that. So this is quite original as well, isn't it? I bet this was here. He would have had his hand on that.
Probably.
That banister. I bet that's the original banister. Thanks, Brett.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's the closest I've got to him. He'll have had his hand on that banister because that was an original banister, and going up those stairs to see his 3 boys. And what went through his mind? Did he go through that door depressed? You get the feeling that he might have done. Because he left it all, didn't he?
Jim's travelled up the coast to nearby Scarborough, the hometown of his father's dad, Grandpy Moyer. While Jim never met his grandfather Simeon, Grandpy Moyer played a big part in his life. He's meeting Grandpy Moyer's daughter, his Auntie Ray.
What a lovely place to be. Oh, nice to see you.
During his childhood, Jim spent a lot of time with Grandpy Moyer, who had a huge influence on him.
Well, Grandpy, one of the many things he used to do, but he dressed me up as an Arab boy and he put a towel down my head.
A tea towel, yes.
It was a white towel.
Tea towel.
Was it a tea towel?
Yes, a stripy tea towel.
Was it? And so go up and down there and say you're a lost Arab boy and you need to beg for some money.
How terrible.
I don't know.
Well, it was his quirky sense of humour, which was like yours. I mean, he used to do silly things when I was a kid, and I used to cringe. Now, you see, you earn money for doing the silly things that my dad used to do.
Well,
and I used to say, oh, Dad, don't do that, you embarrass me.
As well as inheriting his grandfather's sense of humour, Jim was also given his name. The last 3 generations of Moyer men are all called James. Names and identity have always been a part of Jim's life.
It must be terribly confusing that 2 generations are called James Gatherer Smith Moyer.
And then
that was your grandpa
and his
father.
And my dad's James Neil Moyer.
That's right.
And I'm James Roderick Moyer.
Yes.
So I was called Rod.
Yes, because of all the other Jameses.
And Dad was called Neil.
That's right.
Too many Jims.
Yes, I know. But you've never been Jim to any of us, you see, in the family.
Well, within the family, it makes it eat nice and easy.
Been Rod. Yes, that's it. So people don't know half the time. They say, well, you know, what is his name? Is it Vic? Is it Rod? Is it Jim? Well, it's all 3, really.
Well, it depends who I'm talking to.
Yes.
I know who to turn round to in the street. Yes. It makes things very nice, and easy for me.
Yes.
While Grandpy Moyer provides happy memories, Grandfather Simeon Lee remains a mystery. Jim's travelling to the village of Farnham in Suffolk, where Simeon spent his childhood. He was born in Kensington, London in 1878, son of a butler who was also called Simeon Lee. Jim's first stop is the village hall. In the mid-1880s, his grandfather went to school here. and it seems as if Simeon Jr.'s elusiveness started young.
Well, this is the school logbook from this schoolroom here, 1884. Mr. McAlver, attendance officer, called and obtained a list of absentees, viz. Simeon Lee, aged 5 years, Martha Lee, but 76 children were present. 76 pleasant children in this room, but not including my grandfather, aged 5 years. And I don't know, is Martha Lee a relative? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if the rest of Britain was related to me at this rate. November the 10th, 1884. Herbert Bream and James Nunn annoyed the scholars this afternoon on entering the porch by taking their hats off and throwing them into school. They frequently annoy in this way, but they have received a final warning not to repeat the offence, otherwise they will have to account to the magistrates the reason for such conduct. So I presume they will have to go up before the judge and he'll sentence them to death for throwing their hats into school. Much the same as when I was at school, and my resulting prison sentence for throwing my shoes into the pond. 1884, April the 29th. Simeon Lee run over by a horse and cart on going home at noon from school. He is internally injured, and the doctors give but little hope of his recovery. How old was he then? God, I'm losing to... When was he born? 1878. 1878. So he was 6. Oh, that's terrible. Presumably his medical bills were paid by... Well, there's a mystery there. Maybe they were paid by... I think there's some link with this house.
The house is Farnham Hall, where Simeon Lee Sr. worked for a man called Sir William Gilstrap. Jim's come to the site of Farnham Hall to meet Pamela Horn, an historian who studied the estate.
Well, my grandfather, it says in the records in the school that he got quite severely injured when he was run over by a horse and cart. So who would pay would they pay the medical bills?
They could have done. It wasn't necessarily the case. I mean, in fact, some employers definitely said they were going to pay medical bills, and that was a condition. But as Sir William seems to have been pretty generous, clearly he needed then expert medical attention, and I imagine that they provided it.
They've
yes, he couldn't
set that up for him.
I think so, yes.
Well, it's very nice of him, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Jim's grandfather Simeon boasted to his family in later life that Simeon Sr. had left his old job as a butler in London to take on the role of estate agent at Farnham Hall. If true, this meant that he ran the 600-acre property for its owner Sir William, a philanthropic brewing magnate, whose friends included the future Edward VII and George V. By the 1950s, Farnham Hall had become too expensive to maintain. The house was sold and later demolished. The vast estate, which Simeon Jr. says his father managed, was broken up.
So my great-grandfather, he was a butler in Kensington, then he came here.
Yes.
As far as I know, an estate agent or manager.
He actually came here as a butler.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's shown in the
he was a butler here.
1891 census, yes.
Right. Maybe he got a bit grand and called himself an estate.
Yes.
Pamela's research contradicts Simeon Jr.'s version of events. Simeon Sr. remained a butler in a rigid hierarchy of domestic service.
You didn't really speak to the boss, the Lord Chinstrap, Gilstrap.
Oh, no, each person knew his own position and that was it. We're in a different age nowadays, and in Victorian times everybody knew his station in life and you weren't really supposed to get out of it.
Can you get through here, Pamela? It's very busy.
I can probably step round the nettles.
Because I'm suspecting that this is the kitchen garden, and it could have quite easily have had a big greenhouse in the middle.
Yes.
The butler would have said, go and get the nice flowers from here and then put them on the table, because we've got guests
I
coming
expect the gardener would do that of his own accord.
Volition.
That would be, yes. Or Lady Gilstrap.
Yeah.
Strap, when she was alive, would have probably have done that. But
I fancy some gardenias in a vase in the hall.
yes.
And to my grandfather, go and sort that out, and he'd come and maybe have a word with the gardener, and then fetch them from there.
Yes, it could have been. Yeah.
And while you're at it, I want some potatoes, because we're having an Irish stew tonight.
I don't think so.
And kill a lamb while you're at it.
We'll go out again, I think, if we can get...
Yeah, watch out for those nettles.
So Simeon Jr.'s claim about his father's status turns out to be untrue. But how did this latest lie begin? Jim can now show his wife Nancy exactly what happened.
And this is how it comes about.
Go on, let me see.
Because it's the death certificates. That is my great-grandfather. And he dies, he's a butler.
71 when he died, it says.
Okay, so he dies as a butler.
He dies as a butler, yeah.
This is his wife, my great-grandmother.
Yeah.
Wife of Simeon Lee, a butler.
Butler, yeah.
My grandfather,
Yeah.
on his marriage certificate, says father's profession, estate agent.
Was he ashamed of his dad? You know,
No, I thought you just wanted to
write
be-
estate agent when he wasn't. He was a butler. Which
I think he had a bit of a character actor about himself. It turns out that my grandfather was a bit of a spinner of yarns.
bit of a fraudster.
I think, the way he looked, the way he dressed, I think he wanted to be,
He wanted to be something that he couldn't be.
yeah.
It just didn't happen for him, really, did it?
It's now clear to Jim that his grandfather Simeon rarely told the truth. He lied to his family about his age and marital status, and neglected to mention 3 sons from his first marriage to Mary. But what happened to these 3 boys? Researcher Nick Barrett is still looking for living descendants of Simeon's sons, Stanley, Eric, and Clarence. Meanwhile, by looking at census returns, Jim has discovered that his grandfather came from several generations of domestic servants. Simeon Lee Jr.'s mother, Harriet, was a housemaid, and her father, Edmund Lear, a gamekeeper on a large Yorkshire estate. Jim's heading to where Edmund Lear worked in South Yorkshire. For Jim, life on the land has always held a special appeal.
Yeah, I love the countryside. There's something very satisfying about working outside and looking after land. I like striding purposefully around woodland and across fields. Perhaps that's something that has been passed down in the genes.
In the early 1800s, great-great-grandfather Edmund Lear worked for a wealthy landowner, John Carver Aythorpe of Dinnington, near Sheffield. The Aythorpe family sold Dinnington in the 1930s, but John Carver's great-granddaughter, Penelope, still keeps the family archives. Perhaps Penelope's records can provide Jim with a glimpse into Edmund Lear's life.
Well, this is nice.
Not a bad place, is it?
It's very nice. So who's this then?
This is John Carver Aythorpe and his wife, Mary.
Yeah.
And
So that's who my great-great-grandfather worked for as a gamekeeper.
Yeah. Lovely blue bow tie.
He looks quite stern, doesn't he?
He does a bit. That is actually Dinnington Hall, where they lived. Yeah.
So my great-great-grandfather could have been a gamekeeper here.
Well, yes, it looks as if it might be the case. Now then, what should we have a look at? There's a lot of letters here, but let's have a look at these books. Have a look at that one and have a see. I don't know what that is. Is it some sort of account book or something? Let's just have a look. 1845. So.
Oh, Lear, that's him there.
That's him.
Yeah.
That might be him.
Pheasants, I see. Rabbits, woodcocks, partridges, and hares.
Yeah.
This is what my great-great-grandfather killed.
Yeah. Yes.
For the 1st of October, he got 1 partridge. And
that my great-grandfather got 7 partridges.
He got 7 the following day.
Yeah.
I wonder if they kept a scoreboard. I'm a very good clay pigeon shooter.
Oh, are you?
I wonder if that.
Yes, genetic, obviously.
I think it very likely is.
That's right. Yes, very possible.
I can hit a barn door when I'm required. This is a nice little. It was just tucked in there.
Oh yes.
This would be my great-great-grandfather's field notes.
Oh yes.
With a bit of rabbit blood in there. Well, that's a nice little bit of history there, isn't it? I think that's great. This is his life, isn't it? You know.
It certainly is. Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of stuff there.
There's a lot more stuff, isn't there?
Intrigued by Penelope's dusty archives, Jim's keen to see for himself where his great-great-grandfather worked. Dinnington Hall is no longer owned by the Aythorpes, and the surrounding estate, which Edmund Lear patrolled, has been sold off. But the house itself, now the headquarters of a nursing home, is still there.
Well, it's grand, isn't it? I wonder if he came in the house, the great-great-granddad. Probably not. Well, he might have done. He may have come through there and, maybe hung a couple of pheasants on there. And then gone. It's actually smaller than I thought.
The Dinnington of today offers little trace of Jim's great-great-grandfather's daily life. So before he leaves Yorkshire, he's stopping off at a neighbouring estate where retired gamekeeper John Ambler can paint a picture of Edmund Lear's life over 150 years ago.
Hello. Hello, Jim.
You're John, are you?
That's it. Lovely. Nice to meet you.
What do you do?
Welcome to Wentworth.
Well, you got a nice spot.
Very nice in today. Lovely.
John's taking Jim up a nearby tower, built almost a century before Edmund Lear worked here. From the top, Jim will be able to see all of what was once the Dinnington estate.
Well, this would have been here when he was gamekeeping.
Yep.
So he would have seen this on the horizon.
You must stand by the door, no problem.
So where's Dinnington?
Now, Dinnington is going over yonder, over by Rotherham.
Yeah.
And roughly in that area is where Dinnington would have been. Well, it still is like, but as the estate in days gone by.
I'm going back down.
I have had enough.
Yeah. Thanks. Do you get much post through there?
Only at Christmas.
Well, I looked at my great-great-grandfather's logbook.
Yeah.
And every day it'll say he shot 1 woodcock, a couple of pheasants, a rabbit, and he's logged it all.
Well, then now and again there might be a message come from Big House.
Yeah.
They may want a woodcock or a couple of woodcock. So off would go your grandparents and go and get a couple of woodcock or a couple of hares or something like that.
You wouldn't eat the pheasants then?
No, I don't think. No. I'll be quite honest. I'll have a bit of beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of beef. No, I've never been inclined to eat game.
What about rabbit?
No way. Now then, Jim, we'll have a look at some of the tools of the trade that in days gone by the keeper might have used in his employ.
All right, let's have a look then.
Lift it up.
Oh, that's it, yeah. And what would you put on there then?
Right, set now. Well, that's set there. You put a few leaves on, you just slightly cover it down, make a slight indentation. This is where this would come into being. You've got it.
And that would have been used in 1830?
Be easy.
And what are these things then?
Oh, the glorified priests. In other words, the truncheons, aren't they? And once again, night watching, patrol. There you are.
So you're looking for poachers?
This is it. When you're on patrol for poachers, for poachers coming.
Not so whacking a poacher.
You've got it, as you could do it.
What about if the poachers were your mates?
Well, it was tough, wasn't it? That's the sort of thing that the gamekeeper wore in days gone by. They were called velveteens.
Because they wore velvet.
That's the clue.
That's the velvet coat.
They got the long coat, yeah, and there they were. That's typical of the gamekeeper going back into days possibly of your...
Yeah. You quite often find myself dressed like that nowadays. As a gamekeeper, you'd be in the pub in the village, would you? With your...
Well, if you didn't have a gear,
And so your allegiances would be with the landowner?
Always. He employed you, he paid your wages.
Yeah.
Oh, aye, yeah.
The gamekeeper is he's a tough guy, isn't he?
It's light side, the gamekeeper. It wasn't all grim and fighting poachers. And,
so is he a romantic figure then, do you think, to the ladies?
Oh, this lady chatter is lovely. It's an old go. It's no, ain't got time.
Do you ever get winked at then, by the ladies?
No, not really. You just carry on and you've got a job to do.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you look at one time, it was speak when spoken to.
Yeah.
That's my old boss, and he used to tell us before we went on to moors. Think on, you speak when spoken to.
For Jim's ancestors, life in domestic service was defined by stability and deference. This world, that Simeon Lee Jr. seems to have rejected, still holds a certain appeal for Jim.
There's loyalty, good, solid, hard work, and a smartness. So I've inherited all of those things. It's great to see where the ancestors were and perhaps touch a bit of wood that they might have touched and see the same things that they saw. And that allows you then, I think, to feel perhaps how they might have felt.
But the journey isn't over yet. On his way home, Jim receives a call from Nick, who has one final piece of news.
Now, I've found somebody for you.
Yes.
It's the daughter of Stanley Eustace Simeon Lee. And her name is Susan Lena Ray, R-E-A-Y.
Yeah.
And I've got a rough geographical location for you as well, Liverpool.
Right.
So this is Simeon Lee's granddaughter that we found.
Hang on, so Stanley's
daughter, yes.
Oh.
Now, I've got at least one living descendant, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
The plot thickens,
It is, it's getting thicker. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Blood relatives. Extra ones.
Before heading to Liverpool to meet the new family member, Jim goes to Darlington to pick up his mum.
I don't know what my mum's going to say when she finds out she's got a Liverpudlian in the family. Now, Liverpool's great because they're all comedians in Liverpool. Perhaps she was a friend of John Lennon. Maybe she's got his autograph, or Jimmy Tarbuck's fell in there. I might tell her I'm John Bon Jovi and see what she thinks. Well, she's 70-odd, isn't she? I'll tell her I'm Max Bygraves. That'll make her raise an eyebrow. She might not believe me. But how many more are there out there? And who knows? Who's got all these hidden secrets and hidden relatives? Could be you. I wonder what my mum's going to make of this. It's a revelation. It is a revelation. We'll soon find out as I approach the door now. Stanley was the first one, and he had a daughter who lives now in Liverpool, so we're going to go and see her, who's your niece.
Good heavens. Gosh. Is that where we're going today?
Yeah.
My niece?
Yeah. The only down point is she's a Scouser.
Why is that a down point?
Well,
I thought they were.
No, they're very comedic, aren't they, the Scousers?
Oh, yes. Oh, well.
She's, apparently she's a hoot. So we're going to see her in Liverpool.
Right.
The new relative, Susan Ray, lives just across the water from Liverpool. She's the daughter of Stanley and the only living descendant of Simeon's 3 sons by his first marriage to Mary. Perhaps she knows why Simeon abandoned his 3 boys. She may also be able to confirm whether or not he was a bigamist.
What do you think then? Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Well, it's an odd thing. I don't know how to broach it. I don't know what to say. 18 or 20. I think this is it. Yeah, 24A. Hello. Hey, Susan.
I am, yes.
Can we come in?
You may, yes, please, yes. This is almost intriguing.
It is, isn't it?
It is, yes.
But it's intriguing to us as well.
I really don't know what all this is about, do you?
Well, we've got a vague
You
idea.
didn't know until yesterday.
I didn't know until yesterday that we are related.
So, please, yes. Way up from...
Do you know in what way?
Well, isn't it through Grandpa Lee?
Yes.
Yes.
My father's father.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Your grandfather is my grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, is this Simeon?
Yes, that's Simeon.
Yes.
That's Lillian, my mother. And that's me, Audrey. And that's my brother, Adrian. And that's my grandma.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There are my parents and Granny Lee and Clarence at their wedding in 1927.
But my father wasn't there then?
No. There's Granny Lee, as we called her.
Yes.
Simeon's first wife.
Yes. And these
There's
are
her
two
Clarence,
sons.
her son, and Stanley, her son.
Oh, are my half-brothers?
Yes.
And there they were. Never knew he existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did he ever try to find his father?
My father, Daddy, not as far as I...
No.
No. But as I say, I had no idea, except that we looked after Granny Lee and visited her and looked after her when she was ill.
Did Granny Lee ever mention Simeon?
Only that he left her.
He just went.
I mean, we accepted all my life that he left her.
Yeah.
You know what and that
I don't know
was
what reason. What reason?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, if you can think when you're young,
yes, you just
accept things, don't you?
Yeah.
And I don't know why we didn't.
No, it's a mystery.
Yes.
bigamist.
Yes.
Because he married, we're claiming that he was a widower, claiming that Mary had died.
Yes.
Yes, because she didn't die till 1940 something.
Certainly, yes, 1940s, yes.
Can I take your photograph?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'll take it. Look at you two sitting there.
Oh,
So, we...
You're my niece.
Yes.
You're my cousin.
Yes. No, sorry. Should I know you?
No.
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 Not unless you're a Vic Reeves fan.
What?
Vic
No.
Reeves.
No. I don't know Vic Reeves.
I don't blame you.
What, does he sing or dance or what? No.
He doesn't do much.
If he'd been a musician, I might have.
Yeah.
Ask your
his name.
children, they'll probably know.
What are you in television?
I doubt if you'd have heard of anything that I'm ever in.
Well, tell me what it is, what sort of things.
The 12 Reeves and Mortimer, Vic Reeves' Big Night Out.
No.
Shooting Stars, Randall Hopkirk, Catterick. I don't think
No.
you've ever heard of any of them.
No, sorry. No.
I don't blame you. They're all rubbish.
Yes.